What's up, guys? You are watching Gregorio Girls Makeup. If you're new, my name's Shauna and I run this channel with my sister Devin, and in today's video we are doing another Glam and Goals episode. I'm really glad that you guys really like these because I really like them too. So our topic today is societal timelines and how social media kind of marries into it all and makes it a nice, really great mess. And at the end of the video, I have a super fun, super cool announcement that I am really excited about. So after you finish watching the video, make sure you leave me a comment down below letting me know if you are excited as well. So that's enough, let's get into it. So if I did not say it in the intro, today we are going to be talking about societal timelines. One of my favorite things to talk about because I just think they are such bullshit. So when I say societal timelines, I mean, and more specifically in our age group, so when I say our age group, I'm going to assume you're in your 20s or early 30s if you're watching this, the majority of people watching this. So when I say societal timelines, I'm going to focus on a lot of the ones that I feel like our age group is going to be pressured on, such as when you're getting married, when you should be going to college or graduating college, when you should be having kids, things like that. So right out of the gate, I feel like, we graduate high school, and even all throughout high school, people are obviously asking you, okay, like, have you thought about school? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Blah, blah, blah. And in my opinion, like, what 18-year-old is going to know what they want to do in life? Like, how... You're gonna spend more of your life working than you have been in school, so you just have to be ready. You just have to know at 18, because college is a big investment. We all know that. So that little societal timeline right there, just being like, okay, you're about to graduate high school, time to go to college. I mean, sure, if you want to and you feel like that's your next step, but in my humble opinion, when you are coming out of high school, that's really the beginning of when you're really start to get a lot of control over your life. That's kind of like the first step, you know what I mean? You're deciding what you want to do, what you want to dedicate your time studying. So college is kind of the first step in some ways to determining your future. And in my opinion, if I'm determining my own future, the first rule is there are no rules. And that's the only rule, honestly. We automatically just kind of assume, okay, college is the next step, but that isn't always for everyone. Like, what's wrong with just kind of going out, getting a job, just kind of taking time to figure out what you want, especially if you have no idea what you're doing. Some people know. I always knew people in high school that were like, hey, I really want to be a teacher. Like, that's all I've ever wanted to be. Like, I know this. That's great. That's awesome. But I feel like for a lot of people, they're like, I don't really know what I want to do, but let me just go to college anyway, or let me just go to college because that's what all my friends are doing, and everybody's committing to college, so let me see. And I feel like that's what a lot of people do. I feel like that's kind of what I did. I mean, I was excited to go to college. I knew I wanted to go, and obviously hindsight is 20/20, but there's nothing that I was ever passionate about in high school. So I was kind of coming and I was like, all right, I think I might want to study psychology, but I also don't know. Sometimes I think our culture just puts a lot of pressure on people really young, and I think it's okay to take time for yourself if, college isn't your next step, to figure out what you want to do. Like, whether it's, getting some type of apprenticeship, if you can do that, if you're somebody who maybe wants to go to trade school, if you're somebody who just wants to wait tables or get any type of job that just put some money in your pocket and you can figure out what you want to do. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I just don't think it's right to be like, oh, well, so-and-so's not going to college. They might get there eventually, but if they're not going to jump on it right when they're 18 because they don't know what they want to do, that's fine. I feel like each of these that I'm going to hit on is something that I could talk about for, an hour each. But I'm gonna try and keep the video going. So that's one. So the next little timeline stamp or societal expectation, we'll call it, is, okay, so now that you're approaching graduation or you have graduated, what cushy job are you gonna get to support yourself for the rest of your life? I think I've talked about this before in one of my videos, but I also kind of feel like the closer we get to the end of high school and then going through college, it's like, yeah, the world's at your fingertips. You can do whatever you want. But also then it's like, okay, but what's practical? Okay, you have this dream, maybe you want to study music or art or something, but somebody's talking you out of it because they're like, what are you really going to do with that anyway? So my point with that is just, we tell everybody, hey, you can dream big, you can have anything you want in the world as long as you're willing to go and get it and take it for yourself, but only if it fits in this little box that we're comfortable with, that we think everybody else should settle into because it's comfortable and it's going to make you money and all this stuff. I'm not saying that you don't need money to live, you totally do, but when we have these societal expectations and we start slowly chipping away at people's dreams and creativity, I mean, we wouldn't have, can you imagine, I mean, just with this art example, can you imagine if we crushed every single musician and artist's dreams? We wouldn't, can you imagine a life without music? I can. And I wouldn't want to squash somebody's dream of that. So you come out of college and you're expected to, land that nice cushy job so that when you go to, family parties, people can be like, oh, what are you doing now? And you can be like, oh, I work in finance or account, like whatever, which I'm not saying that those things aren't great. Those are great accomplishments. But if that's not what's really in your heart and you just spent all this money to go to school for it, because you didn't know what you wanted to do in the first place. And I'm not discounting education or a college degree. Of course, I think they're great to help set you up well in life. I think there are different ways of arriving to whatever your success is. And I don't think you necessarily just have to jump when you're 18 if that's not what you're feeling. So we go to school and then we get this like nice cushy job. Okay, so now you're here and you're like, this is it. This is, you have to fit, this is the rest of your life. And we all know how much time we spend at work. You need to be happy doing it. It needs to come from you, not because somebody else is making you feel like, well, I have to go here because of the benefits and pay and just being comfortable, when really you're going to your job every day and you're just hating it and you're just like, you can't wait to get out and clock out at 5. What kind of life is that, Like for the next 50 years, that's what you want to do? You want to wish away time? I don't think so. So I just think sometimes like our societal structure has us thinking, okay, I need to do X, Y, and Z because of how it's going to look to the outside world. And I need to measure up to what this outside world and the society that I live in, what standards they've already set for me, and I need to live up to that and make sure I fit in and get in line with everybody else. Again, I say, the only rule at this point in life, sorry, I'm not trying to scold you here, but the only rule in this point in life is that there are no rules. Probably the majority of you watching this are in your early to mid 20s. The time is now. The time is now. We can't be worried about how we're gonna look to everybody else. And in today's time where we are trying to move through this weird time that is our 20s and we're trying to figure our lives out, we've got a nice little thing called social media, which in my opinion, I'm sure I'll get comments on this, but I'm sure some people might agree as well. We're living in a time where social media is a lot of us just trying to one-up each other, quite frankly. Well, you went to this nice European vacation, well, I went to wherever, or I just did this or bought that or got a shiny new car, like whatever. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with putting the best version of yourself online. That's fine. But I think we as a society need to start the conversation of, okay, this is everybody's, like they say, highlight reel. Nobody's going to broadcast the points in life that didn't go so well. When I got laid off, I wasn't like, just got laid off, hashtag unemployment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't do that. And I understand that. But I do think there needs to be some type of awareness that that's the positive side of people's lives. And it's great. But what I'm saying is I think we take a lot of our social cues and social expectations from online media because that's what we're constantly bombarded with. That's where we hang out a lot. It's a great tool, but it's a double-edged sword. And we do a lot of upward social comparison on that. So upward social comparison is when you are comparing yourself to somebody who you think has something better than you. So there's upward and downward, but in my opinion, I'm not, a big researcher at Harvard or Yale or anything, but in my opinion, at least I know for me, when I'm on social media, it's upward social comparison. It's like, well, that person is in better shape than me, that person has more money than me, that person likes their life better than I do, or whatever. And that is detrimental to your mental health. So not only are we trying to figure out what we want and what we're supposed to be doing in our lives and what is good for us, but we're constantly being bombarded with everybody else's images of what they're doing and constantly feeling bad that we're not living up to that. So then we have to post our best lives, and it's just like, well, I gotta one up you, you gotta one up me, I gotta one up you, you gotta one up me type of thing. And that's unhealthy, and that's what we need to be aware of, and that's what we need to change. So I just think we live in this time where social media is just so, it plays such a big role in how we even learn about ourselves and our environment, and it's huge. And I feel like we don't even know it because it's just what we're used to. It's our norm now. It's very interesting. So you might be all up in Instagram seeing everybody, you know, having their nice cushy corporate jobs, and you might have decided, okay, I graduated college, I tried the corporate thing, I didn't like the office job, I don't know what I want to do. I'm going to take time and bartend or wait tables and just take time for me. Have my schedule be a little bit more flexible and just do my thing. But then you're all up in social media seeing everybody appearing to be living their best lives with their jobs, and maybe your parents wish you were doing that and, you know, having that nice job with the benefit. But you're feeling in your heart and in your soul that you need to take this time. And you still have some form of income coming in, but you really need to take this time. But you're constantly judging yourself against other people doing what the norm is. I'm not saying the norm is bad if that's what you want. Again, I don't want to offend anybody. Those people might be looking at you and being like, oh, look at her. Like I wish I had the balls to quit my job and just figure out what I wanted to do. Look at her. She can, you know, take off for the weekend without using any PTO and like drive down the shore or do this or do that. So while you're judging yourself against what you think that standard is, the people that are seeing you break it are like, well, damn. Again, success is not linear. It doesn't look the same for everybody. You're not going to arrive at the same place, and it's okay not to know. You don't have to know everything about yourself right now in your 20s. That would be ridiculous. I feel like in our society, take a shot every time I say society, societal, expectation, timeline, anything like that. Take a shot and see where you're at the end of this video. I'm just kidding. Please enjoy responsibly. And it's okay to care a little bit about what people think. I mean, we are human beings, we are social beings, but not at the expense of doing what you really want to do. And I feel like we're afraid to take this leap and show it on social media because we have that fear of being judged. And when it comes to social media, I feel like everybody's afraid to post what they really want to or pursue the thing that they really want to because they don't want everyone to see it. And is it worth holding ourselves back for what people might say, especially because they are not looking at you and judging you the way that you think they are and as much as you think they are. And to be honest, I really feel like we don't give each other enough credit, where I don't think people are really going to be that judgmental. I feel like the people that are overly judgmental are a few outliers who are very unhappy themselves. But what I really believe is that a lot of us are all just kind of sitting around thinking these things in our head. And I know I totally got a little bit, pretty much a lot off topic of societal timelines, but now we're kind of talking about the expectations of society. I feel like a lot of people are walking around feeling this way, but we're all almost waiting for a cue that it's okay to follow these things and follow these passions and accept them and fully step into them. And I just feel like if you really have a calling and something that's a burning passion in you, I like to think most people are going to respect that. And I feel like with that, they'll be more inspired to follow their passions as well. I think I said in my last video, you know, you don't need an invitation to live your life or be confident. Don't need an invitation to pursue the things that are truly in your heart and in your soul. People need you to take your leap of faith so that they can see that it's okay to take theirs. And from there, I really think it's a domino effect. So then their group of peeps will see them doing that, so then they'll feel inspired. And again, it just kind of ripples out So in that spirit and in that idea of taking leaps of faith, I would like to announce to you guys my podcast. So the Uncertain 20s podcast I am looking to launch in the fall, sometime in October or November. Again, it's called the Uncertain 20s podcast, so we're just going to be talking about all the weird shit that happens in your 20s and what we go through and how turbulent and transitional the time period is. I had this idea for a while. I really wanted to make a podcast almost for a year now, and I kept telling myself, no, you can't do it, you won't have time. And then I finally started to think, how can I make time? Because the idea kept coming up. It was definitely something that I couldn't stop thinking about, so I definitely felt like I needed to move on it. And every time I make videos like this, you guys respond really well, and it seems to really resonate with you, so I want to make sure that I'm providing content and just have a medium that's totally dedicated to this type of stuff. So it will have nothing to do with makeup, and I hope if nothing else, it will help at least a handful of 20-somethings, and if nothing else, it will be very therapeutic for me to talk about. So I'm still trying to figure out equipment and what I can do on a budget, because you know that's what I'm about. So I really hope you guys consider listening to the podcast and just joining me along that journey as well. So that is it for this video. I hope if you're watching this, it inspired you to just start to entertain that idea, that little thing in the back of your mind that you can't stop thinking about. I hope it will encourage you just to start moving towards that a little bit. So thank you guys so much for watching, and Devin and I will see you in our next video.